You're listening to Beyond Wellness Radio, bringing you the cutting edge in health, biohacking, and sports performance. Stay up to date and listen anywhere and anytime on your computer, tablet, or smartphone by subscribing on iTunes. Catch your host, Dr. Justin Marchegiani, as he answers your burning health questions as well as interviews from world-renowned guest experts. For more Beyond Wellness Radio, go to beyondwellnessradio.com.
Hey there, it's Dr. Justin Marchegiani. Welcome to Beyond Wellness Radio. Feel free and head over to beyondwellnessradio.com where you can access our full podcast transcriptions. While you're there, you can also sign up for our thyroid and female hormone video series. This series goes into the root cause of why your hormones are out of balance. While you're there, you can also schedule a functional medicine consult with Dr. Justin, myself, where we'll dig deeper into the root cause of your health challenges. Feel free and think of sharing this podcast with at least one person. This podcast grows by people sharing it. Sharing is caring. If you can think of one person that can benefit from this information, please feel free and share it. If you're enjoying the podcast, make sure you subscribe on iTunes. You can also click below the video or podcast where you'll see the iTunes review button and leave us a review. You can also sign up for the newsletter at beyondwellnessradio.com where you'll get updates before anyone else. Thank you so much and enjoy the show. And we are live. Dr. J here in the house with Evan Brand. Evan, how are we doing today, man?
I'm feeling much better. You helped me get through my weekend, so I'm grateful for your help. We're doing a podcast on this soon. I got my stool test results back. We'll do a whole show on it likely. And I showed up with Cyclospora SPP, which is a parasite infection. And I also showed up with a bunch of other bacterial bugs. So it happens to the best of us. And luckily, Dr. J was there to help me through the weekend. I felt terrible. My head was killing me. My freaking blood pressure was going high. I was like, dude, help me out here. And luckily, you and I were able to implement some protocols. And I'm feeling more sustainable today than I was.
Well, if you're able to work and be able to do a podcast and have some logical back and forth conversation, you must be doing pretty good for sure. Yeah, that's good. So let's kind of chat about it. I know, number one, the first thing that happens, but you having a lot of diarrhea, right? That was the first thing that happened.
Yep. So loose stool came up. That was the first symptom. Thought it was completely unrelated. Then went to sleep. Woke up in the middle of the night with just a throbbing headache and got up the next day. And I thought, you know what? Something just doesn't feel right. I'm feeling a bit dizzy, just feeling out of it. Got the blood pressure cuff out, tested my blood pressure, and it was above 140 over 100 at the time. And I continued to track it a bit obsessively, but ended up maxing out in the 150s with my blood pressure. For my top number, about 110 was the highest for the low number. And I'm like, dude, at what point do you start worrying about major issues with blood pressure being that high? And you're just like, don't worry too much about it. So did a bunch of electrolytes, bunch of magnesium, bunch of vitamin C, vitamin D, bunch of adaptogens, mushrooms, the whole 9 yards. Got it down. I was able to finally go to sleep over the weekend, getting the levels down to about 130 something. Then during the day, blood pressure went right back up. So I started doing some more deep diving, which is the stuff I sent you in a text message about Cyclospora. And turns out basically every symptom I had, from headaches to nausea to just general GI upset / dizziness, it could all be tied into this parasite. So now we have our answer, and then I've got some herbs on order and hopefully going to knock this thing out in a few weeks.
100%. So off the bat, it sounds like you had the flu, some kind of a viral infection going on there. Now, leading up to it, right, let's kind of chat about some of the big stressors. Number one, you got a new puppy, and we all know puppies can be harder than babies, right? So that was a major stressor that I think was, screwing up your sleep. You had to wake up 2 or 3 times a night to take the puppy out to pee at 0-degree weather, right? Those are some big stressors to start with.
I wish it was 2 or 3 times a night. It was like 5 or 6, and it was like 0 degrees Fahrenheit. I was up every hour and a half for a week out there in the freezing cold with the dog. And then the dog wants to play, and it's not playtime at 4 a.m. So then you're trying to get the dog back to sleep. That was a recipe for disaster. And like you and I talked about off air, no matter how many adaptogens I take, if you're not sleeping, you can't replace that. There's no pill for that, for sleep deprivation.
No. So, of course, we kind of keep it simple. We go down to the diet and lifestyle, simple things. So, your diet, I imagine, was pretty good. You weren't cheating with a whole bunch of alcohol during this stressful period. You weren't consuming a whole bunch of junk food, right? You doing good?
Nothing.
Yeah.
I don't drink alcohol, so.
Right. So, you had the major stressful event, which is just the sleep, like 6 times a night. The freezing cold kind of temperature thing that kind of compromises your immune system. And we know that there's a massive flu going around. I think 36 different states have this flu infection, and it's, everywhere. And potentially you could have interacted with it. That's what it sounds like to me.
I wonder if I did. I guess it doesn't matter at this point, but I tell you, based on the way I was feeling, how they say a flu makes you feel like you got hit by a train, that's how I felt. So I wouldn't be surprised if I picked it up. But I feel like my turnaround time was pretty quick. I mean, it was maybe 48 hours or so?
Yeah, the thing is, the benefit is you were doing some of the reishi mushroom support. So I'm going to take some reishi right now. You were doing that during the whole treatment and before. And again, you were doing some adaptogens. I'm going to take some adaptogens and some reishi mushroom right now. And then when we chatted, we just really upped your dosage significantly. We got you a lot of sleep. One of the big things that I think is just incredibly underrated, but really strong, potent, fresh juiced ginger tea, where you actually get the little ginger pieces. I call them cloves, but ginger pieces. It's like a clove size, like a garlic clove size. 2 or 3 of those, you juice them, right, in like a Vitamix or actual juicer or a Ninja, and blend them, right? You blend them. So if it's a juicer, you juice it. If it's a blender, you blend it, and then you can run it through like a coffee strainer or a coffee filter or a French press. I like the French press, right? Add 12 ounces of hot water to it. Add a little bit of lime juice, a little bit of honey. The honey really makes it palatable. If you don't do a little bit of honey, it's really spicy and really abrasive. Yeah. Honey makes it a little bit more soothing. It makes it a little bit more softer on the mucosa of the throat and the tissue. And there's some great viral adhesion qualities of ginger. It really helps with antiviral. Ginger also helps with blood pressure. So I wouldn't be surprised if we gone back in time, if we really hit the ginger up hard, that would have helped with some of your higher blood pressure issues. And we weren't really concerned about your blood pressure, partly because you don't have a cardiovascular history. You don't have heart disease. You don't have chronically high blood pressure. So we were just kind of postulating the blood pressure is probably because your sympathetic fight or flight nervous system's activated. It's inflammation because of the virus, and you were probably losing some electrolytes and minerals because of the diarrhea. So, of course, like more sea salt, more electrolyte formulas, more bone broth. Get the extra minerals in your system that you're losing, and try to make the food easier to process and absorb if there's some kind of a stomach virus that's causing the loose stools.
I've got something else cool to share too. You and I had chatted over the weekend about some literature on pharma-GABA and hypertension, and I ended up finding out 200 milligrams of pharma-GABA was able to reduce blood pressure by about 15 points. So I went from, like I said, in the 150s down to like a 130. Of course, all the other stuff was a factor too, electrolytes, et cetera, but the pharma-GABA really, really turned off that fight or flight nervous system, and all of a sudden I felt much better. The vice, it felt like my head was being squeezed in a vice. I could feel the pressure relieving after 10 minutes chewing one of those up.
Love it. I mean, that's great. I mean, you can use things like that's kind of like an artifact of the infection, right? This blood pressure stuff and the head. That's kind of like artifacts of it. So, of course, there's a couple ways I look at it. Like there's immune support, and we could talk about the various immune support. So in my Immunosupreme, there's a couple things that I put in there. Medicinal mushrooms, right? Reishi, maitake, shiitake, cordyceps. These are immune boosters. It makes your immune system stronger, right? To help kill different things. There's herbs like astragalus and echinacea and goldensia, which upregulate certain natural killer cells and immune antibodies to help go after the infection. And then there's things like ginger, which can actually adhere on or, kind of start attacking the virus. We can increase things like monolaurin, which digests the viral envelope, which then exposes the virus because it's cloaked in this viral envelope that prevents the immune system from seeing it. So monolaurin extract can help undo that cloak so now the immune system can see it. And we can also do things like silver. So like in my line, we use monolaurin supreme or monolaurin synergy, and that's going to help with the viral envelope. I put a little bit of monolaurin in the Immunosupreme. We do the ginger, which really helps with the virus from sticking. And then we do the silver as well, which really helps attack the virus as well. So there's things we can do to attack the infection, and there's things we can do to upregulate the immune response.
Yeah.
So I'm a fan of doing both. If we can hit it from both ends, that gives us the best chance of success.
Yeah, I agree. Plus fixing my sleep. It was tough sleeping when your head feels like it's killing you. So once I was able to sleep, I felt so much better the next day. The daytime, symptoms would come back. Only really had the loose stool that one day, though, just the first day. It didn't happen again. So it was really just like a one-time deal.
And we chatted about it too. I said, hey, this may be a good time for you to use the ibuprofen because you're doing all the natural stuff. And again, I don't think you did ginger at the time. The ginger may have helped with the headache. Maybe that would have helped. But if you're doing all this stuff and the headache is preventing you from sleeping, in my opinion, you're better off getting the headache suppressed so you can sleep.
You know what I did? I forgot to tell you the help was the Bragg's apple cider vinegar drink.
Yeah.
The apple cinnamon one. It's got like 8 grams of sugar, but at that point, I didn't care. I was like, you know what? I need some cinnamon. My blood sugar's off. My appetite wasn't as good. I could use the blood sugar help with the chromium and the cinnamon there, plus the apple cider vinegar. I felt probably 10% better just based on those.
Exactly. So, there's a couple different things you can do there. So, of course, that can be helpful in general, keeping the sugar down. I mean, if you do a little bit of carbohydrate, maybe that's in the honey that you put in the ginger tea, I'm okay with that. I mean, if you're using a really good quality honey, there's going to be some immune benefits from the propolis and the bee pollen in the honey. So I'm okay with that. So in general, right, like we crossed off all these things that we were doing, and maybe if we added the ginger in earlier, maybe that headache would have gotten better. But in general, like if you're in that crossroads, if we sleep is so important that if we have to use a pharmaceutical or an over-the-counter thing to get you to sleep, I'm okay with it in the shortest term possible.
Yeah.
I ideally maximize all the natural stuff first. Cross everything off your list first, though.
I may have considered it. I didn't even have any, luckily. I mean, I don't stock ibuprofen at the house, so I couldn't go to it. But luckily, once I just quadrupled the magnesium, it let up enough where I could sleep.
Yeah. And again, like for me, same thing. Like I may use ibuprofen once a year because I maybe consume too much alcohol one night, which I very rarely drink. Yeah. But I find that if I'm going to consume alcohol, guess what I do now? Charcoal. I do more detoxifying herbs and amino acids for glutathione and then charcoal. If I do that and maybe some vitamin C, I could probably have a couple extra drinks and be fine in the morning because I'm detoxifying and binding up a lot of the toxins. Plus, I just choose cleaner alcohol versions, a drier champagne, a drier Prosecco, clean alcohol version, not any gluten-free, crappy, sugary drinks.
Let's chat about vitamin D too. Can we hit on this? Because vitamin D, there's some literature now that's showing that vitamin D is more effective than the flu vaccine. And many people, 90% of people are too low with vitamin D. And then the cold and the flu, when does it happen? January, in the middle of the dead of winter, when everybody's vitamin D production is minimal because they're covered up and the sun's not over here on the northern hemisphere.
Yeah, so there's a combination of number one, that there's a lot of holidays around wintertime, Thanksgiving, New Year's, Christmas. So people are consuming a lot of sugary crap, right? Which also includes more alcohol too. There may be more stress because you're traveling, right? You're in this going to the airport, around lots of people. You're in a plane, which is basically a recycled tube of oxygen for 3 to 5 hours, right? So all of those things compound and make your immune system more stressed. And then you have the bigger stressor, which I think is the lack of vitamin D. And vitamin D is so important because when you have adequate vitamin D levels, you increase this antimicrobial enzyme or peptide called cathelicidin. And that's like a natural antibiotic. And that can really help digest bacteria in your body that may be, like a staph or a strep or a pneumococci infection in the making.
Yeah, I took 10,000. I'm sure I could have done more, but I didn't want to take all of my wife's supply. She has her little cute pill box organizer with all of her vitamin D laid out. And I was like, I'm going to just steal your vitamin D for a few days. And so I was doing 10,000 a day for, 2-3 days. And I think that probably moved the needle a little bit.
Love it. Smart. Typically what I'll do is I'll do vitamin D, 100,000 IUs, and we'll do that for 3 days straight. And then we'll drop down to 10 to 20,000. So I could have just, because we really want to do it like super high for a couple of days to really get the immune system upregulated.
That's crazy. So I could have 10x'd it and been just fine then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to make just in sunlight, getting a full minimal erythemal dose, you're going to get about 20,000 in the sun anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that for a short period of time, for sure.
Are you a bigger fan of going with a capsule, or you liking the drops, like some of the emulsion drops that we can use?
Yeah, I mean, I have an Emulsi D Synergy that I use. It's great. That's helpful. There's some capsules too, but I'll typically do the drops because I can just knock it down, throw it in a drink, and be done with it.
Yep. Cool. Well said. Did we hit on zinc at all?
Zinc's great. I mean, 38 milligrams a day is excellent. You can do it in a lozenge form. It can be very helpful for the throat. And again, we did like an immune boosting podcast recently. We're just trying to really take this podcast and focus it more on the flu. And again, there's flu vaccines that are out there. Not a big fan of the flu vaccine because number one, they're basing it off of the flu that was in Asia the previous season, and 70 to 80% of the time it can be wrong. And then number two, flu vaccines notoriously have mercury in it, which is not good for your immune system, and it's a live virus a lot of times. You have to go look at it. Some aren't, but most are live viruses. So you can actually give someone the flu if you just got the vaccine. And if you look at some of the side effects of the flu vaccine, again, you have to go into your local pharmacy, ask for the flu vaccine insert. I've done this. Go read the side effects of the flu vaccine. The side effects of the flu vaccine are actually the flu. They will not call it that, but they will say headaches, fever, chills, fatigue, lethargy, right? They'll say all of the symptoms that what we classify as the flu, right? So the vaccine can actually give you the flu. And then number two is Cochrane database is pretty clear that a majority of flu-like symptoms aren't from the flu. They're from other types of viruses, adenovirus, rhinovirus, paramyxovirus, these type of things that are out there. So the question is, the flu vaccine is only going to help you 10 to 20% of the time for that flu virus. But the things that we're talking about are going to upregulate your immune support for all viruses. And that's why the natural way, in my opinion, is so much better.
It is better. It's not even an opinion. It's a fact. I mean, look, here's a piece of literature right here from the CDC this year. This article was December 29th, and it states that this year, and I think it's probably all years, but they're saying their flu vaccine is anywhere from 10% to a maximum of 30% effective.
Exactly. So very, very low.
That's terrible.
It's awful. I mean, the placebo effect is 20% effective. So basically, the flu vaccine is in the same realm of effectiveness as a placebo.
Wow. Well, why
are
all
getting a little bit of mercury in there?
Why though? When you go to like Whole Foods, or maybe not Whole Foods, but some of these other local grocers, it's like, oh, we're going to donate a meal to a child in need if you get a flu vaccine, or we give you like a gift card. It's like, are they just making that much money on flu vaccines? I don't understand.
Well, I mean, they're highly government subsidized, right? So they've already, people have already bought these things, so there's an incentive to unload it, right?
Oh, they got to get rid of them.
That's really the big thing. Yeah, I mean, they're subsidized, and that's part of the reason they got to unload them. So they're doing everything they can in their power to unload them. And again, the issue really is, let's say the flu vaccine is 100% effective. Let's pretend it's not 20% effective. Let's pretend it's 100%. I already mentioned that other symptoms that are out there aren't even flu-based. Right? 80+% aren't flu-based, like I mentioned. So even if that vaccine's 100% effective, there's still an 80 to 90% chance that your issue isn't even flu-based. And that's really the key point, because we want to really work on upregulating the immune system and making it stronger.
Yeah, the immune system's the problem. It's this time of the year, plus the sugar, like you mentioned, the travel, the time zone stressors. It could be flu, but it could be flu plus Streptococcus and Staphylococcus and Pseudomonas and Cyclospora, like me, and everything else.
100%. And also the other component is timing. So, if you have all this stress going on, but let's say you wait like a day or two to start getting on your immune support, that can make all the difference in the world. So like, imagine like something happens, like you don't wait for like the infantry to come in like 2 days later, right? You get the Navy SEALs, you get the Delta Force, you get the Army Rangers in there now to surveil and start coming up with a plan. You don't wait and hold back for a couple of days. Same thing with your immune response, is you really want to get the A team out there right away. And that's why getting the immune support in within a few hours is important. So I recommend everyone have, at least one or two, maybe three things on hand that you can really hit. So like for me, Immunosupreme. That's kind of like medicinal mushrooms, a little bit of monolaurin, some echinacea, some golden seal, a little bit of astragalus, a little bit of elderberry. So that's kind of like my multitasker right there. And again, you can find the link down in the show notes, justinhealth.com/shop immune support. Number 2, you can do something simple like either a vitamin D or a vitamin C. Vitamin D, 100,000 IUs for 3 days, and then bring it back down to 10 to 20. Number 3, vitamin C. Allison asked how much vitamin C during the flu. I would go up to about 8 to 10,000 grams, 8 to 10 grams a day, 8 to 10,000 milligrams a day. And it'd probably be right around bowel tolerance. And if you hit bowel tolerance where you have loose stools, back off a bit. So we have the Immunosupreme, we have vitamin C, we have vitamin D, and then of course something at home we can do the ginger tea. So we're going to actually juice pieces of ginger, 2 to 3 ounces of ginger juice, add some hot water, 10 to 12 ounces, add a little bit of honey, teaspoon to a tablespoon, and a little bit of lime juice, and that'll be a great first step. Sip that throughout the entire day. And I think that's your great first step. And if you want to be like an extra good student, you can do some additional reishi mushroom by itself. You could do silver by itself. And I think that's a really good starting point. I even go a little bit more. I'll even do astragalus by itself too. But that I think is a really good starting point. And I was maybe down for the count for a day and a half to 2 days, but I was still able to work 10-hour days, see patients, do my thing at home, cook, do all my stuff. And I was still able to function even though I was starting to feel it because I hit it hard. Day and a half, 2 days later, 100% gone.
Yep, that's the goal. And obviously the functional medicine testing is important too, because if you feel like crap, you've got to figure out, okay, what are the biomarkers that are going on that allowed me to get to this level? Yeah, it could have just been a fluke, something you picked up and then it's gone. You don't have to worry about it. But the GI map that we both use has been upgraded. So now we're able to test for other things. So we're able to actually test for things like Epstein-Barr now on the stool panel, which is cool. And worms. Yeah. We're seeing hookworms and threadworms and these parasitic pathogens, the H. pylori piece, bacterial overgrowth, fungus, candida. We'll look at the immune system, gluten antibodies, see if you've been cheating. I mean, there's so much available on the testing that if you get sick, consider that your time. Okay, now I need to go run an oat test as well and go look at my nutritional markers. How's my mitochondria? How's my B vitamins look? How's my liver detox function? That's the excuse that you may need to get yourself tested. So if you're trying to just self-treat and you've got that medicine cabinet that's full or you've got that supplement graveyard, you can whittle that down to just the foundations like Justin and I have done. We've got just the key components, but that's because it's based on labs. It's not just guessing and checking. So always want to make sure that you guys know you have to get to that next step. I know what's going on. I knew that I had that cyclospora plus the stress. It filled up my bucket and my bucket overflowed. And now I'm draining that bucket with the herbs to help. And I'm sleeping better. And my stress level has gone down significantly. So now I'm able to come out of it. But as you see, if the stress doesn't go and I'm still not sleeping and I'm still stressed and other things are in my bucket, I won't get well. But I saw it coming. The train hit me. I called you. You helped me through it. I made it out. Now the train's gone. The train's leaving the station, and I'm coming back to normal.
Yeah, hey, we're able to have a high-level conversation. You're able to see patients today. You're able to do, all the work you got to do. So that's phenomenal if you can function at that level. Again, I get people on Facebook Live. Again, we only can do this conversation two-way on YouTube, right? We have to choose a medium, either Facebook or YouTube. We like YouTube better. So feel free, if you're on Facebook, go to the YouTube channel, justinhealth.com/YouTube, YOUTUBE, subscribe, hit the bell, and you can watch the whole back and forth conversation via YouTube. I'll put a link in the show notes description on Facebook afterwards so you can subscribe. But justinhealth.com/YouTube, subscribe, hit the bell, pound that bell so you get the notifications, and then you can watch this conversation and you can ask questions as well.
Yep. I think we're done. I think we can wrap this one up. If you want to reach out for help, get a consult with Justin or myself, you can look us up, justinhealth.com. That's for Justin. You can check out the store too. We've got some cool herbs on there. Myself, evanbrand.com, and look us up, stalk us, study our content. We've got hundreds of hours of other free stuff. So go study and become the smartest person in your family so that you can help them when they're down and out.
I'm going to drop a couple more knowledge bombs, but as a little collateral here, I'm asking everyone listening now, smash the bell, because the bell is what's going to tell you when we come up again. And we're going to try to consistently be on Mondays, and then Fridays I'll do live FAQs, and I'll try to give like a 24-hour notice. But if you smash that bell, that's going to help you to know when we're going live so you can get your questions answered. Number 2, give us a thumbs up and a share right now so more people can get access to this information. By you sharing, you're helping other people get healthier, which is going to be just better for everyone. Yeah. All right. My big philosophy is anytime you're healthier, you're a better employee, you're a better CEO, you're a better mom, you're a better dad, you're a better parent, you're a better neighbor, you're a better everything to everyone when you're healthy. So this is kind of how we ask that you help us to get you healthy. Amen. And outside of that, phenomenal. So outside of that, also sugar is a big one. We've already talked about it before. Sugar is going to decrease your phagocytic activity. So phagocytes are these little Pac-Men that go around in the bloodstream and try to gobble up bacteria. When I was coming back from Kansas City, it was January 3rd. I had overcome my infection. I was like sick for a day or two. I knocked it out. I was like getting better. Sleep was good. The number one key is for 3 days after you start feeling good, continue with the immune support like you're sick. That's number 1. Number 2, be very careful of alcohol. I was on a plane. Southwest gave me these like free drink cards, and they had like really nice sparkling wine on the menu. It was like a cava. It was like, a dry one. I'm like, oh, this is great. I love sparkling wine. Like the holidays are coming over. Let me have a glass of champagne on the airplane. Have a nice little glass. And the throat issue just started coming back. And I got home that night at 9 o'clock. I like juiced some ginger. I hit it hard. I hit the immune support. I did ginger the next 2 days. Gone. So it kind of like creeped up a little bit, but I went and pounded it down by doing all those things that I practice. But so just keep that in the back of your mind if you feel that.
It's like, hey, don't be doing that yet. We're not ready for that yet, Justin.
Yes, exactly. So I think some of the alcohol or maybe some of the carbohydrate just started weakening my immune system, and whatever like little virus or bacterial critter that was in there, it was starting to peek his head back up.
Yep.
But we showed him who was boss. So
nicely done.
Awesome. Excellent. Well, anything else you want to mention today here, Evan?
I don't think so. Just make sure that you're asking these questions. Your symptoms are not a deficiency of antibiotics or steroids or whatever other ACE inhibitors and all these other drugs that, think about it. If I would have ended up going to a conventional doc for my blood pressure, just based on one high reading, they're likely to throw you on some type of a blood pressure medication. And we know the side effects of those are just huge. So, really just try to take a deep dive into the natural perspective first. It's much easier to pull somebody from sickness if they're not already on 10 or 15 drugs. If you're already that deep into conventional medicine, you've already been on acid blockers and steroids and antibiotics. It's like, oh, good Lord. It's extra work. We can do it, but man, natural medicine is superior for these type of issues.
100%. I got a couple more questions. Let's hit them real quick.
Okay.
So after the flu, I really have sugar cravings. What's causing this? Well, number 1, it depends, right? If you took antibiotics, there could be a yeast overgrowth that's happening. So do you take antibiotics? Yes or no? Number 2, typically when you get sick, you tend to lose a lot of weight because you have no appetite. So if you're throwing up or you're easily nauseous, you may be under eating. So your body's just craving a lot of nutrition. So you got to get back in the swing of good proteins, good fats, extra bone broth, minerals, tea to kind of get things going and then get the blood sugar stability back on track.
Yeah.
Next, does stress in general make anyone more susceptible to infections, or some people just more vulnerable to others? Robert, in general, yes, stress will make you more susceptible because high levels of cortisol, right, will suppress your immune system. And is ginger tea safe to drink every day? Yes, I have no problem drinking ginger every day. It's a tonic, really good. If you look at a lot of Chinese restaurants or Asian restaurants that serve like sushi, they typically always have a little bit of ginger on the side. Why? It helps with digestion, and it's also anti-parasitic as well. And then what would you do if you're already dealing with an autoimmune disease? Well, get rid of the infection, right? Yeah. Support the infection, but then you got to get to work and reach out to someone, Evan or myself, to get to work on the underlying autoimmune disease body systems that aren't working and the underlying stressors above that.
Yeah, there's probably other stuff going on outside of that. Could be co-infections, could be bacteria, yeast, fungus, parasites, H. pylori, all of that stuff in your bucket. the leaky gut situation has to happen for autoimmune disease to be present. So if there's still gluten or some other food trigger, you've got to address all those. I mean, obviously, yeah, you knock down the flu, but you've still got other work to do. So yeah, a functional medicine guy is important.
Exactly. And also Sandra writes in about the IV therapy and the cocktails. Yeah, IV therapy I think can be great. Like if you're sick, like as an acute, like 1-day thing, especially if you have loose stools, a nice Myers cocktail or a nice vitamin C drip, I think can be helpful acutely. Problem is it's not sustainable longer term. You know, if you're paying $50 or $80 or $100 an IV and you're sick and you need it every day, it may not be the most cost effective way. But I think if you as a 1-day kind of acute thing, is it totally okay? Yeah. I'd much rather see you run to your naturopath and get an IV than run to your ER and have them put you on antibiotics, especially most of the time if it's a virus. You're just destroying your gut for no reason if it's a virus infection and they're giving you an antibiotic. And most times they don't culture it. They're not going to run a culture. They're not going to even see if it is. They may just diagnose off of symptoms. And there's some overlap between virus and bacteria where it may be hard to know the difference.
Sure are. And it's not going to do nothing but give you potentially fungus and yeast that come right back with a vengeance. And you've got more stuff to work on.
Exactly. Yep.
Creating more work for yourself if you do that.
Yeah. And then Matt talks about DXM. I think guanefacin is the herbal extract, but it helps with mucus. It helps kind of decrease mucus. Matt was mentioning that it's a serotonin reuptake inhibitor. So regarding would 5-HTP be dangerous? I mean, in the short run, I wouldn't worry about it. Again, I typically only recommend things like Mucinex or the guanefacin extract if the cough is keeping you up at night. Like if you're coughing all night and you can't go to sleep, you're kind of in between a rock and a hard place because we know how important the sleep is for the immune system. So I would use an herbal extract or I would use a Mucinex product. Or there's a one that I use by another company called Mucoplex, which is phenomenal. That just has the herb without all the dyes and colors and crap in it because that can decrease the mucus. But again, the body's trying to use the mucus to kind of like flush out, the viral adhesions. So I would just use more ginger tea and natural tussins or antitussins to kind of help with the cough reduction. But again, if your sleep's being impaired, you got to get the sleep on track. And I would err on the side of using one of those if the sleep's being impaired.
Yep. Well said.
Anything else you want to add, Evan?
I think that's it. I'm sure I could keep blabbing, but I think we killed it at this point, and I think we should wrap it up.
Awesome. And I'll see everyone here this coming Friday for my live FAQ. So be there, be square, and give us a share and a like and smash that bell right now. Appreciate everyone's time. Have a great week.
Take care.
Thanks. Bye, Evan.
Bye.
Take care, Facebook. Awesome, man. Hey, we crushed it.
Yeah, we sure did. I'm going to hang up the call, automatic post-production. If this works, I will send.
Got a question for Dr. J? Go to beyondwellnessradio.com and click the questions button. Then tune in to hear the answer. Also, if you like the show, click below to review us on iTunes. For more Beyond Wellness Radio, go to beyondwellnessradio.com.